Canadian citizen means you have rights, and these rights are outlined in the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Canadians have the right to be free, to be secure, to vote, to have peaceful assemblies, lots of rights. But obviously, being a Canadian citizen also means you have responsibilities. And these responsibilities include helping others in your community, protecting the environment, and obeying the law. So, if you're a new Canadian citizen, or you're just someone who wants to be a responsible citizen, but you don't know how, I'll be giving you a guide on how to be a responsible citizen by offering you 3 simple actions you can take as an average citizen. First off, the Charter states that everyone has the following fundamental freedoms: freedom of thought, belief, opinion, and expression, including freedom of the press and other media of communication. Everyone also has the freedom of peaceful assembly, which means that anyone can express their opinions about a certain law that the government passes. Mr. Masson can have his rants. A person can say that they think the earth is flat. I believe that the earth is flat. Yes, quite flat. See, it's flat. And to express their opinions, they're allowed to use the press or social media platforms. Charter also says that everyone has the freedom of peaceful assembly, which means that people can gather to discuss or protest depending on their opinions. Now, one of the responsibilities of a Canadian citizen is to protect our heritage and our environment. Therefore, I highly recommend you consider joining or donating to a non-governmental organization that supports the environment. These organizations serve to educate, campaign, and bring supporters together to help protect the environment. With climate change and rising temperatures, this is an even more pressing initiative to take. Other environmental issues in Canada include mining and deforestation. Mining accounts for 21% of our country's exports, but it also has a devastating effect on our country's environment. It leads to water contamination, which endangers fish populations, and it is a root cause of deforestation. Deforestation is bad for trees, and that's bad for us because trees and forests play an important role in regulating the carbon footprint by storing carbon. Even though Canada is improving, there has still been a 12% decrease in tree cover due to deforestation from 2001 to 2022. The right to assemble and share opinions at an environmental organization, for example, is a fundamental right for all Canadians. Moreover, to take the initiative to protect our environment is a responsibility for all Canadians. In 2019, former Commissioner of Environment and Sustainable Development Julie Galfond accused the mining industry of a lack of transparency and accountability. Therefore, by joining protests and activities, you are also fighting for action from the government's part to help protect our environment. By joining these organizations and taking part in their activities, their campaigns, and protests, you are helping all of us and our environment, and you're being a very responsible citizen. Here's a list of organizations that you can consider joining or donating to: the Canadian Council on Ecological Areas, the David Suzuki Foundation, Greenpeace Canada, and the Living Oceans Society. Visit their website. They also provide ways for you to take action. Now let's move on to democratic rights. The Charter states that every citizen of Canada has the right to vote in an election of members of the House of Commons or a legislative assembly and to be qualified for membership therein. So basically, voting is a democratic right that all Canadians have. This means that all of us, as long as we're over the age of 18 and we are Canadian citizens, we have a say in who the members of the House of Commons are and which party becomes responsible of our government. This right that has been given to us is not always one that is provided in other countries. Voting is not only a right, but also a responsibility. Really? Well, yes, it is. First of all, because it allows transparency and fairness in a democratic system. You see, when parties campaign, they make promises because they want people to vote for them. And if people do vote for them and the party becomes government, they will most likely keep these promises because in a couple of years there will be another election and the party still wants to be supported by the people. Second of all, in order for there to be a government that satisfies all citizens of the country, we all need to vote and contribute our opinions. If we want a party that suits all of us, we all need to vote and choose. Because remember, the party that wins will be the one that will govern us and pass laws for us. Finally, the voting system upholds equality and gives everyone a chance to vote. Okay, for those of you wondering what exactly you have to do in order to vote, it's very simple. Start by researching and learning more about the different parties to know what their opinions, motives, and promises are. Then, on election days, which happen every 4 years, you'll be able to choose the representative of your riding that you support. Some of the most common Canadian parties are the Liberal Party, the Conservative Party, the Green Party, and the NDP. The actual voting process is different depending on where you live, but most likely you'll be given instructions on where to go in order to choose. Oh, and obviously you need to be registered in order to vote. Now we have legal and equality rights. The Charter states that every individual is equal before and under the law and has the right to the equal protection and equal benefit of the law without discrimination, and in particular, without discrimination based on race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability. And then the Affirmative Action Program states that subsection 1 does not preclude any law, program, or activity that has as its object the amelioration of conditions of disadvantaged individuals or groups, including those that are disadvantaged because of race, national, ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental or physical disability. To sum up, the Charter states that it is everyone's right to be equally protected and not to be discriminated. However, in our society, this right is not always respected. Surely you have seen or heard of people getting discriminated against on account of their differences. Even under the law, there have been instances of discrimination, especially toward people part of the LGBTQ community or people who are Indigenous people. These issues violate the Charter, and as Canadian citizens, we have the responsibility to help these people. Now, one of the underlying issues is that many of us are not well educated about our rights and other people's rights. I therefore urge you to urge others and yourselves to learn more about these rights. For this, you can join education programs. At these programs, you will learn about your rights and freedoms as a Canadian citizen and how you can help others and yourself to better respect these rights. To further educate yourself, you can read news articles pertaining to human rights. These articles tell you about present-day incidents when people's rights are violated in Canada. And knowing these stories helps you better understand the issue, which makes it easier for you to help solve it. Remember, the first step is always education and awareness. And that is the end of our guide. Remember, to be a responsible citizen, you should join or donate to organizations that support the environment. You should vote. And you should educate yourselves and others about the legal and equality rights that we have as Canadians. So there you have it. 3 simple actions you can take as an average citizen. So there you have it. 3 simple actions you can take as a responsible citizen.